Hello and welcome to this week's Take and Go Craft with Peabody Public Library's Adult Department. This week we are going to be doing a super fun watercolor painting tutorial. So we are sending you home. You can come to the library and pick up a packet, and it will contain Crayola washable colors, just like what you used as a kid. And we will have a brush for you. It's a number 8 round. For those of you who are familiar with painting. And we'll also send a 5x8 piece of mixed media paper by Canson. It's like a little notebook that we got, and we'll give everyone a few pieces of paper so that you can practice our tutorial. Okay, so today we are going to be painting some sprigs of lavender. And to do lavender properly, we are going to want to mix our own color of paint, which is really easy to do with watercolors. So you can see right here, I was practicing, and all you need to do is take your number 8 round brush and get it a little wet. I forgot to mention, you are going to need a cup of water. So to make our lavender color, we're going to want to mix purple and blue until we're happy with the result. So I kind of just picked up a lot of blue and ran it around in the pan, right? And that's really bright. That's not the color that lavender is. So you want to take some purple. You don't even need to rinse your brush off. Really, watercolor is so easy to work with. And look, see, it's kind of darkening it and giving it a little more of an interesting color. And you can do whatever shade you want. Now, and what you want to do is get your brush a little wet, and since I just mixed it, I already have color on my brush, so I don't really need to pick up anymore unless I'm not happy with how things are looking. So then what you're going to want to do is we're going to start at the top of the lavender and work our way down. So you want to just do a little brush stroke and then a couple underneath, and you're just going straight down, really short brush strokes. Like that. See, you're just getting, and I don't know if you've ever seen lavender, it looks like just very small, kind of almost bud-like flowers that all cling to a central stem. And it's very tight and everything is together. So that is one stalk of lavender. And then once you finish 1 or 2, maybe 3 you could do, so we'll do another one up here. And do another one. And you want it to be, when the paint is going onto the paper, you want it to be pretty wet. So what we're going to do is we have 2 relatively wet stalks of lavender here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick up some purple, not even a lot, like, see, just pick up a little bit of purple, and then you are going to touch, kind of dab it into the blue lavender mix that you already have. And pick up as much as you want. Make sure you can see it when you add it, because all of these colors are going to dry much lighter than they look. So it looks kind of dark, and you know, you can add less purple. You can make them just blue or just purple if you don't want to mess with mixing them. It's so easy. And then we have a little bit more interest to our lavender. And okay, and then here is a close-up of what it will look like when you're doing the, sorry, I'm getting my paint on my brush here. What it looks like kind of closer, if you can see this, to do the strokes is you just go down like that, and see, it's pretty wet. You can see how wet it is. It doesn't have to be quite that wet. You can take a little water off if you want. And you do like this and like that. And I'm doing them a little bigger here so you can see it a little bit better. But that is what you want. And then if you're not happy with how much water there is, if there's too much water, not enough, see, that doesn't have enough color. I don't like that, so then we'll go in here. But maybe you like yours really pale lavender. There's all different shades. They're all beautiful. Use whatever makes you happy. And then I'm going to pick up some of that purple and dab it in here, right there, and keep dabbing right there. There we go. See the purple? And I'm kind of letting it go to the bottom here, because the biggest difference between the really expensive paints and the cheaper ones is the blending of color. So if you were using a really high-end paint, it would just, you would touch it and it would just bloom. And I'm sure if you've watched any watercolor videos, you know what I'm talking about. These paints won't do that. You're gonna have to work the color in a little harder. Because we're gonna pick up another color, rinse it, and you can even dry it a little if you want before getting it a little wet again. And then we're gonna pick up some green here. You can see, just pick up a little bit of green on the brush. And what you're going to want to do is start at the bottom here and add your stem. Now don't push hard. Use the tip of the brush because lavender has very delicate thin stems. So you want to just pull it down like that. And see, I started really high up on the paper. You can add more lavender at the bottom and kind of build your way backward. Or if you are patient or have a heat gun or hair dryer handy, you can do it in whatever order you want. Just make sure before you paint over something that it's dry. And dry it with a heat gun, a hair dryer, or you can just let it air. Go ahead and you want to touch the bottom of each flower and then drag it down. So I'm dabbing the bottom kind of like I did with the purple to get the green blended in, and then drawing a couple of lines. You can do as many as you want. You can do 1, 2, do 3, go crazy. 1, 2, 3. There, see, you can do as many as you want. But lavender does kind of carry down through one stem. And so then we'll do exactly the same thing, and I've still got a ton of green and it's still pretty wet, so we're just gonna gently pull it down like that, and then connect it to the bottom, connect it to the next one, and just kind of work your way up. And that is really it. What you're gonna want, what I did then, you don't have to do this, you can do whatever you want. You can make like, you know, purple, pink, red, lavender, I don't care. It'll be beautiful, and I cannot wait to see what you guys have done. What I did is I made just a bunch of these. So just keep doing that over and over and over, keep doing that, and until you're happy with how it looks. So what I did is I ended up adding a bunch, and it looks kind of like this, and I'll add a picture into this post so you can kind of get a better feel for what it looks like. Just to kind of see, and like here, if I had a bunch more time, I probably would have dried this and then put some in the front here because I feel like there's too much green, you know. But you want to make sure there is some empty space for interest, right? And then all I did, the very last thing is your Crayola kit will come with a Crayola brush. And I think that the best and highest use of this brush, other than to teach you how to paint, is to get it really, really wet. Because normally you don't want your brush dripping wet. You want it just wet enough to pick up paint and leave the paper wet. You don't want it dripping. But in this case, we do. We want it soaking wet. And then go pick up a color that you like. I used yellow on the picture I just showed you, but for the sake of being able to see it, let's do orange. And just really cover it in totally, totally saturated orange paint. And then you hold the brush and you smack it. And then you get little pretty dots all over the paper, which I love. If you hate it, don't do it. But I think it adds something, and you can do any color you want. You can mix colors. I probably would do maybe like a yellow, purple, green, something like that. If you can, if you happen to have the right paints to do it, or you're much better at mixing them than I am, which is not hard to be. Lavender does actually have kind of a silvery gray green color of stem. So if you add that tint to it, it'll look fantastic. So I hope that you enjoyed learning how to paint lavender with me, and please, please, please show me your finished products. I can't wait to see them. Thanks. Have a good one.